We're Malin and Johan, a Swedish couple that have been sailing full-time since 2016. After 3.5 years of sailing, we welcomed our daughter Vera on board. Most recently, we bought a farm in Sweden where we're going to build our dream boat ourselves from scratch. Welcome aboard and please subscribe for weekly episodes.
Taking a day off from the boat build today, and it's Saturday and pretty nice weather, quite windy though. We're down at a place called Sandhammaren at the southeastern corner of Scania or Skåne, the region we're living in the southernmost part of Sweden. It's beautiful down here, really long beaches and not a lot of people around this time of the year.
Vad letar vi efter?
Havsglas.
Havsglas. We're looking for sea glass. Färdiga, spring! I'm so happy that we're living close now to this coast because it is so beautiful and there is much less people than on the west coast and nature here is so beautiful. I've always loved this nature, the sand mixed with this grass and then the pines, beautiful colors. It smells so good from the pine trees, even now in winter.
Ja, det är bra.
Back in the barn, we had now gotten up 14 temporary hull frames. And we were determined to get the last 8 up in the next 2 days.
We're just about to mount number 17, and this is the last one on the wide strongback, as you can see here. And since there's no more strongback, we can't use these supporting legs in this direction, so I think we're going to mount them in just the other direction. Also the threaded rods here, they got in the way, so I had to make some cutouts in the legs to make room for the threaded rod. We're just about to start with number 18 on the smaller strongback when we realized that we have made a mistake. This piece is not in the correct position. And the reason why we made this mistake is because this leg is on top of the plywood on this and on this piece. And I didn't realize that when I was measuring on the feet down here. Because as you can see on all the other frames, this leg is resting on this one, on this beam, and not on top of the plywood. So that means that this piece is 18 millimeters too far aft. And as a consequence of that, that's also true for this one. So this whole package needs to go 18 millimeter forward, and then it will be correct. But again, I'm really glad that we saw this now and not later on when we had placed all of them out there. So now we're going to move these two.
But how did you see the mistake?
It was just a coincidence, really. I was just standing there and looking at the frames from this angle, and then I just realized, oh no, this leg is on top of the plywood, and that means that something is not right here. And then, yeah, I realized that we made a mistake. But that's how it is sometimes, especially when you have a lot of pieces that are built the same way, and then suddenly there's something that differs from that. Then it's so easy to just continue making the same, and then you have made a mistake.
I guess that's why it's good to take a break every now and then and just think about what we've done, look at what we've done, and try to have a clear mind. Definitely.
Another consequence of this is that bolt over there on the threaded rod, it will go even deeper into the leg. So I probably need to cut that a bit deeper on that side. Ah. Yeah, that's just how it is. I have to say I'm kind of impressed how well they have stayed in place, all these frames. It's actually within the millimeter, most of them. And this one is now exactly 10,500 millimeters from the end. And this is frame number 16, so that means 15 times 700, and that's exactly 10,500 millimeters. And that's where it stands now. And I have checked a few of them, and I'm really pleased on how well they stay in place. I guess the strong back will have some movement in this direction, but not as much in this direction on the timber. And that's just a natural thing of how wood moves. It moves more in this direction than in lengthwise. But there can be more deviation later on when the temperature starts to rise. Then maybe this whole structure will be a bit longer, but that should be okay, because the spacing between these will still be okay, I think.
I got so happy to find the first signs of spring coming up from the ground. It's really exciting to see what else will come up, since it's our first spring on the farm. After a lot of measuring, the first frame on the narrow strong back came up. I have to go pick up Vera in 3 minutes. Bye-bye. Yesterday we got up to frame number 20 and things took a bit longer than expected. Yeah, pretty much as always, right? But the transition from the wide strong back to the narrow strong back was quite difficult. So the biggest challenge yesterday when we started on the narrow strong back was to get the correct measurement between these two, but because it's a total different strong back and the legs, support legs on this frame are different as well, we needed to take a new measurement for the whole length of the boat to get the exact position where we were going to place the frame. It's complicated, I know, maybe it doesn't make sense, but yeah, trying to explain it so you will understand. But that was the reason anyway. So it took some time to get the right position here and to find out that this frame was exactly straight and not standing tilted. But then 19 and 20, they were easier. And it's a little bit sad now because these frames weren't cut out in the middle. So now we can see through the whole hull structure any longer. If they won't move when we do it, maybe we take up a hole. But now we have 2 frames left, number 21 and 22. And then all the frames are up.
Don't. So I'm taking a measurement of the total length of the boat for the last frame to see that the boat doesn't get too long or too short in total. And if we made everything correct, this should be 14,700 millimeters at this line. We're 4 millimeters off at the moment. So let's see where that problem originates from. So I'm checking at frame number 21 just to see if this one will be correct. Here it should be 14,000 millimeters at this line. Okay, this one is exactly on the millimeter, this line. Maybe this is off between these. 1 millimeter off.
On both sides.
So we need to move this line just 1 millimeter and then, but there is some deviation in that as well. So. So this is just an extra control line that I put in when I cut this out with the shaper router. It's a bit easier when it's longer because the waterline length now on the pieces are pretty short. So it's a bit easier to see if these are really level when the line is longer. So in the front here I've been using this line instead of the water line. Done. I think that's needs to come up on this side.
The last frame is in place. Now we'll have 22 frames up here. It feels so great to have the mold for the hull ready. We've reached another big milestone in this boat build.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not entirely finished. We need to brace it a bit more, put on some extra legs, and also these pieces up here in the front needs to have, I don't know what you call it in English. In Swedish we say kottlingar, pieces you put between the frames. We'll do that on all of them, but in different places, just to get the whole structure a bit more rigid. And like I said, some extra legs out here, and maybe some diagonals from side to side. But I will work that out tomorrow, I think. And a lot of you guys talked about the ceiling height in here in last week's episode. And you are correct. There's not a lot of room up there, but it's plenty enough. It's a bit, I haven't measured it, but it's around 1.2 meters, 1.3, so it's okay. We can get the boat out and in again, and once the boat comes in again, the right side up, it will sit a bit lower down, so we can build the deck a bit more easily.
Yeah, because then we will remove the strong back,
yeah,
and the hull will go in again and sit in kind of a cradle.
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of cradle that we will build.
And yeah, and then it will almost touch the floor, so a lot further down, and we need that because we have the deck house.
Yeah.
So still, when we're making the deck house, it will be pretty tight above that. So we still haven't decided if we're going to build the deck house on top of the boat or on the side and maybe mount it later on.
But before all this,
Yeah.
now when we're starting to planking the hull, we'll see if we stand on ladders between the frames for the top or the bottom parts, but the top parts here, or how we do it.
Yeah, or we get some scaffolding so we can have some platforms to get easy access.
Yeah, but it's still pretty far in to reach.
It is.
If
So,
you stand out here
yeah.
on a scaffolding, you don't reach all the way there.
No, so maybe, yeah, at the center line that we can do it in between these, and then get some platforms for the further up on the sides here. So as you can see, it's a tight fit. The boat will actually, the end point of the boat is actually flush with this post. So we're going to remove this, and if it's too tight, because we will only have like 15 centimeters in front of the boat here. So I'm thinking that we're taking up a hole in the wall and build a temporary nose on the barn, so we can more easily work around the bow of the boat. And then the stern, some of you commented on that as well in last week's episode. It's not possible to construct the stern or the transom of the boat as it sits right now. So what we're going to do is, first we're going to plank the whole hull, get the glass fiber and epoxy on it, and then we're going to move the boat a couple of meters once we have opened up this hole, and we have wheels on this future cart that we're going to build. We move it out a bit, and then we build the transom. So because we're a bit limited in space, this is the only way we can do it. We have to build some of the parts in steps and then move the boat, because we have what we have in form of the accommodation we have for the build.
Yeah, we also wanted to build this size.
Yeah. The other option would have been to take down that brick wall, but it's easier, I think, to just build a temporary tent or a construction outside of this wall.
Yeah, since we are going to open up here later on. So after bracing all the frames, the next phase in the boat build begins. And that is to start ripping strips out of the western red cedar and start planking the hull.
Yes.
And this will be a huge job. So if this phase felt pretty fast.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you could see your progress.
Yeah.
But planking the hull will take much longer.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I think we will see progress fairly quickly, but not as fast as we've been doing now with the frames, or the temporary frames. But I won't give any exact estimate on how long it will take to plank the hull. But
yeah, we've never done it before.
No. The only thing I know is that it's going to take a lot longer than raising up or standing the temporary frames, that's for sure.
So the planks will be from about this size to this size?
I haven't decided fully. I think we're going to go with 3 different sizes of the planks in width. All of them will be 32 millimeter thick, but the width will be between 90 millimeters for the flat areas, and then between 28 and 28 to 45 millimeters for the rest. That suits very good the thickness of the planks we have, so we can utilize as much as possible of the timber we have.
So we still have to pick up this big table saw that we also bought from the man that we bought all the rest of the stuff from, because we need that to start ripping strips out of the timber.
Yes.
So we have to organize some transport. It's not very big, but it's heavy.
Yeah, it's around 700 kilos or 1,400 pounds, something like that. So a really big chunk of metal, old school machine. So we need to sort that out. But we don't want to rent another crane
or
truck with a crane, because that's quite expensive. So we'll see if we can sort it out a bit in a cheaper way this time.
So it took 2 episodes to get up the whole mold for the hull.
Yes.
So I think we did a pretty good job, or mostly you.
Yeah, it was about 1 week of work, I would say, to put all these up. And like we said, it's not finished yet. We still need to brace it, but fairly quickly.
Yeah, and take more measurements.
Yes.
But thank you so much, guys, for watching, and a big thanks to all our patrons for supporting our production. And if you would like to support our production as well, you're very welcome to join our Patreon crew. So I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.